Hello, welcome to 7.1 Notes. I'm your host, Mr. Boleen. We have a bit of a chapter here on algebra, so we're going to start off with some vocabulary. An equation is a mathematical sentence that uses an equal sign to show that two expressions are equal. An expression does not contain an equal sign. So we've seen a lot of expressions earlier this year. We actually had a whole chapter 3 about it. An expression does not have an equals. We saw a lot of variable like x plus 8, which is a variable expression. In this chapter, we're going to be creating equations. We're going to see a lot of variable equations like x plus 8 equals 12. Later in the chapter, we're going to find the value of x. But now, in this part in 7.1, we are just going to work on changing words into that math equation. So to write a word sentence, as it says here, look for and underline keywords or phrases such as is, the same as, is equal to, or equals to determine where to place the equal sign. We're going to try 5 of them right here, and then there's 2 more like full-length word problems coming up on the back. So I'm going to get my pen ready to start writing here. We'll go with blue. It says, a number m added to 3 equals 15. So clearly the word equals represents equals. So I treat the first half says m added to 3. So I'm going to write that as m plus 3 as we've seen many times before. Now I have an equals. And then after the equals I just have the number 15. And that's how you just transfer a sentence into a math sentence. Number 2, twice a number h is the same as 22. Is the same as is a great phrase to represent where the equals is. Before the equals, we have twice a number h. We had seen that earlier in the year. Twice of a number is 2 times that number, so it would be 2 times h, which is best written in algebra as 2h with no symbol between. Is the same as is the equals, and then after the equals we have the number 22. And that's it. It might not be a bad idea to pause the video at this time, try the next few, and then to restart the video to check them. To be honest, number 5 is a little bit more difficult than ones we've seen. Okay, I'm going to go over the rest of them here, in case you didn't pause it. Number 3, the product of a number x and 7 is the same as 35. Is the same as represents the spot for the equals. Prior to it, we see the product of a number x and 7. Product means multiply, so that would be x times 7, which is best written as 7x. Then we have our equals, and afterwards we just have the number 35. And that's it. Number 4 really does fool some people. It says 12 is 8 fewer than a number n. Is represents the spot for the equals. Prior to it, we just have the number 12. And then we have, after, we have 8 fewer than a number n. Remember back to chapter 1, 8 fewer than a number n would be n. Take away 8. We have to switch the order there. This one looks different because the variable is on the right side. That can happen. That's actually very common. Take a look here at our last one, number 5. It says 4 multiplied by the quantity of x plus 4 is 20. So is the equals is almost at the end. So it might not be bad to start with that. We have equals. After it, we have 20. Now the front end of it is the more difficult end. It says 4 multiplied by the quantity of x plus 4. So we definitely see 4 times something in there. Quantity might be a word that you may not have heard before. Quantity generally represents needing parentheses to group something together, which is exactly what's going to happen here. So we're going to have 4, and it's going to be multiplied by the grouping of x plus 4. And that's that one. That one's a bit more difficult. You'll see more of those in class. Yet again, if you need to pause the video, you can at this time, because we're about to flip to the back. All right, and it says here, the more challenging problems ask you to write a math equation from a given real-life problem. It's extremely helpful to write the equation in the order that the events happen. Don't always write it in the order to find the variable Rarely do equations start with x equals. It's also helpful to use a variable that fits the story. Here are some examples. There are S number of students in class. 4 people leave the classroom. Then there are 18 students remaining. Write an equation to find the number of students who started in the classroom. We need to pick a logical variable for what's varying. They actually give it to us in this problem. They say S. So we want to say let S be and what it represents. Some people just write students, but what about the students? It's the number of students. We'll do ones that maybe is the height. There's a whole variety of things it could be. So we need to put it in the order that the events happen. We are starting with S number of students. Then it says 4 people are leaving, so that would represent by taking away 4. Then there are 18 left. That indicates it's going to equal 18 at the end. That would be the math equation written in the order the events happen. Some people will be inclined to write 18 plus 4 equals S. That will lead us to the same example, but it's technically out of order because you don't start with 18. You're actually really ending with 18 remaining at the end. So that should come after the equals. You may want to pause the video and try number 7 first. It's kind of similar. It's a little bit more difficult. So it's up to you. Okay, I'm going to go over number 7 here. Brad took a wooden board and split it into 4 equal pieces. If each piece ended up being 4.25 feet, write an equation to find the length of the original board. I'm going to use the variable b, but you might have used a different one. And I'm not just going to let it be the board. I'm going to let it be the length of the board, something that's measurable. So here's the deal. Brad took that board. So we're going to start with the board, and he split it into 4 equal pieces. Splits indicated by a division. So b divided by 4. And each piece ended up being 4.25. So we'll say end with equals 4.25. That's our math equation for this one. We'll be doing many more of these throughout the rest of the chapter. And starting with the next section, it'll be a little more difficult because we're actually then going to find the value of the variable. But for now, it's just worried about setting them up. Good luck. See you in class.